Good morning and welcome back. Here again with my neighbor Mike, or former neighbor I guess. And, well, he's here to help me wrap up the last few questions of this January challenge. And, well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Is humanity headed in the right or wrong direction?
Yes.
Well, care to espouse?
Oh my. The right direction. Oh, I had this one the other day. I had this discussion with somebody else. All right, here's a great example of the right direction.
Okay.
The Biff type. Are you familiar with Back to the Future?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The Biff type would not have been accepting of black, transgender, the gambit of minorities.
Okay.
And that is evolving. I have one friend who is severely right-wing.
Okay.
And he is Biff. He is a prison guard. He's a tough son of a bitch, and he toes a line that you would very Biff-like. For Halloween, him and his son went as cheerleaders. Right. Super masculine guy. I knew his now past father, who was a little racist and just everything you would expect to raise a Biff.
Okay.
That would not have happened 20 years ago. Some middle linebacker, teetotaler type, would not have, even in jest, dressed up like a woman. But there he was, with his little chip off the old block, little Spike right next to him, as cheerleaders. And I think that means, as a people, we're growing. Even the more ignorant among us are becoming more accepting of other people and of things they don't understand, and finding more things humorous that they in the past would not have.
There are a lot of things that I can see us going in the right direction with. You were telling me earlier about how a bunch of actors are giving their money back after these Me Too controversies. You were saying like the Woody Allen actors are giving a lot of their money back, and that's all going to charity and stuff. And I think all of that points to us going towards a better direction. But at the same time, a lot of it also feels compulsory.
Yeah, in my example, I thought it seemed like a rising tide raises all ships. In your example, I could totally see it being people feeling they had to, or they wouldn't get jobs now.
Yeah. So is that really us going the right way, or is it just them gaming the system?
Yeah, a lot of them, I think that is what it was.
And us gaming the system is pushing it the wrong direction again.
Yeah.
So I think in general, we are going the right direction. We're becoming more intelligent as a society. We're becoming...
Literacy, that was a good one.
Yeah.
You remember in the 80s, it was like, there was always talk, there was always commercials trying to get people to learn how to read and stuff. You don't get that shit now. Why? Because everybody wants to be on their Facebook. So literacy is no longer an epidemic. To be socially current, you need to know how to read.
But here you just touched on another one, Facebook.
Well, you're right.
Well, just social media in general. You've seen, I've talked about it on this channel and other places, but different YouTube stars, like that's the fame and fortune that you're going towards, like Logan Paul making fun of dead bodies and stuff like that. No, that's going the wrong direction. People letting their lives absorb into Facebook and just social media and not actually being social people is the wrong direction. And now you're getting people who are more interested in virtue signaling on social media than real social change.
I don't really fault people in that way. Honestly, most people don't have the time to be politically active, in the sense that they have way too much of their own personal stuff to worry about. And if they find a meme from the Dalai Lama that brings them a bit of peace, sharing it with their friends, perhaps they passed on some of the peace. I don't see it as a weak man's way of participating. although it does make things a little more strained than I would have thought. Like seeing people I haven't seen in years that I talk to on Facebook all the time, I'm embarrassed when I see them. Like I don't want to talk to them. Like they're even more strange to me than if I hadn't talked to them on Facebook.
So is that pushing us as a species in the right direction?
I think it's growing pains. I think eventually we'll find a countermeasure. There'll be people that say, I won't be your Facebook friend unless I see you once a year. Or maybe there'll be a movement of people suggesting something like that, wow, this is keeping us so much closer. Why don't we eventually put our bodies in proximity as well?
I hope so. I mean, I just watched a snippet, the speech from the great dictator, Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
I love that speech so much, but it's telephones, radio, TV, the train, airplanes. This speaks to the good in humanity. Our technology is making us more connected, more diverse. Even right now, my voice is reaching tens of thousands of people as I speak it. Yeah. So, in that sense, is that making us more connected? Is this making me more connected? Or is this removing me? Because if I let myself I won't, but if I let myself get absorbed into social media like so many people do, and I almost never leave my house, is that better?
Maybe for one generation it wouldn't kill us. Like I think what you're doing here it helps other people. I think people are afraid to ask. I think people who saw you on the street would not get all of this, would not get this side of you, and now they do. Well, if that leads to one generation of hermits before going out becomes the new thing. You know how every new generation thinks they're the first, they invented sex, they invented cursing. Well, if everybody's a hermit, the extreme thing to do
is to go out in the woods.
Right? Cyclical or pendulum, however you want to think of it. I'm not worried about that. I don't think eventually we're all just going to become some sort of autistic matrix battery horrendousness. We're too wild. It's just this is new, and we haven't found the bottom yet. We still feel that there's so much to explore in this area that we're letting nature go by the wayside, but it won't always be that way.
I hope you're right. I hope that my kids, when I have them, think that going outside is crazy. Like, growing up, a lot of people thought the stuff I did, I made it up because
Too extreme?
They didn't do these things. They didn't. What do you mean you sword fight? You're a lying SOB. Until I was in high school and one of the guys came over that thought I was just speaking out my arse. And he saw I made armor. I had sword fights. I had a forge. Like, this is stuff I actually did. So I hope that my kids are seen the same way as I was in high school, as being the insane, almost crazy guy.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt they will.
Because I think if that's the case, then we are headed 100% in the right direction.
Think of it. There's always somebody who wants to do the extreme. Most people don't skydive. Some do. If everyone's a hermit, the kids who are crazy might be the ones who go outside and play sports. Like, it'll just be seen differently, that's all.
No, even look at California's now, they want to put warning labels on coffee under Prop 65 because that's the new big carcinogen. And one way or another, honestly, everything can be a carcinogen. But if you scream about every little thing, and I was reading some of the comments on it, and a lot of people are echoing the sentiment that everything's a carcinogen, do it all, who cares? There's no difference between having a glass of water and smoking a pack of cigarettes. Why don't you just put a Prop 65 warning on my door as I walk outside?
You haven't lived till you've let government and industry poison you once every day.
But no,
it's an old George Carlin thing.
So is Is that us going in the right direction or the wrong direction? I think that's the wrong direction. Putting warning labels on everything, yes, there are things you should avoid. But to put a warning label on everything makes you numb to warning labels.
Well, first you have to worry about lawsuits. And simply because of that, everybody...
Okay, normally I would just edit all this out, but for the continuity of this video, I have to put this in. Me and Mike were talking about Tide Pods and Prop 65 cancer warnings, and he eventually got to the point of moving the nuclear clock 2 minutes till midnight. Well, which is where we were at the end of the Cold War with the Cuban Missile Crisis. We were 2 minutes away from midnight, or total obliteration of the human race. The point of this is, are we going in the right direction? So, should we remove warning labels? No. We should put everything on a warning label, and if you're numb to it, you're numb to it. We're going to let the strong and the weak sort themselves out. Then we got to this 2 minutes to midnight. So, in short, his point was, yeah, these guys see it, but it's not correct because they only see the bad. They see the worst in humanity, and they don't account for the good. And that's where this picks back up. It's just too good to edit all of this out because reasons.
They can't appreciate, all they can do is add up all the horrible things that are happening. They can't see all the great things that are happening in small scale that ultimately eliminate the possibility for things to reach that critical level.
Oh, what's that quote from Gandalf? Alright, the quote is, Saruman believes it is only great power that can hold evil in check. But that's not what I have found. I found it is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love.
Yes, that. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But really, it is the small things, the everyday things that will push that 2 minutes back down to 15.
Right.
And a lot of times, you're right, the scientists, they become doomsayers because all they focus on is the evil in the world. And they think that it is only great power can stop great evil.
The hole in the ozone at the bottom of the earth is healing. Mm-hmm. That was supposed to never be possible, right?
No.
Yeah, so...
A lot of things are happening that people have said were impossible, that everything's impossible till it's done.
I think the world's going to be a better place simply because liars will have nowhere to hide very soon. It's getting that way more and more every day.
Well, yes and no with politicians, because you could show them the clip of them saying something different 2 weeks ago, lying to their face.
Right. But I mean, as far as misinformation goes, or guilt and innocence, there's so much ambiguity that is around now that's not going to be here in 10 years. Too much will be known.
I hope.
Just like today, so many more murderers are put away because they have things like fingerprint analysis and DNA, and they didn't have that back then. Well, all science moves exponentially forward. I'm not worried. We're all fine.
By the way, the philosophical group he's in is called the Socrates Society.
Socrates Cafe. It's based on a book. I seriously recommend you read it.
Yeah, I know one of my ex's grandmothers was the founder of her own Socrates group. Mm-hmm. If you enjoy this video, look up your local Socrates groups. It'll be Socrates something. And really, this is what it is, but a group of people.
It is very interesting seeing 20, 30 people of all ages discussing taboo topics. It just moves the ball forward. I think we all advance the more things are discussed. In little groups like that, a lot gets done in a short amount of time.
And again, that's one of those small deeds.
Yeah, that has a big impact.
And if there's 1,000 of those across the United States, I believe the general consciousness of our country will go up a couple ticks.
And because of that, there'll be less people easy to fool and less people trying to fool other people.
And it just makes you a better person for examining your own
Yeah.
self. Like, that's one thing I say on this channel all the time, either in the philosophical things or in my Manliness Mondays, is self-examination. Examine your own beliefs. Find out really what is right, what is wrong that you feel, and not just because you were told. And that's how you grow as a person.
Oh, yeah.
So guys, thanks for watching. This month has been awesome for me. It's taught me so many things about myself, even tonight. The only reason I shot these last 2 questions with Mike here is some of the data got corrupted from my conversations with my dad, and that forced me to figure out a workaround immediately instead of just saying, well, I gave it the college try. It forced me to use the program that I use, which is Windows Movie Maker, in a completely different style than I had been. Everything, all my videos up to that point were bespoke videos, one of a kind, crafted just for that topic. And this is more of a production thing for me. So it changed my whole thinking on a lot of things on the back end, on the things that you guys don't even see. And I think that's a beautiful thing. This has been one of the coolest challenges I've done because it's been such a long haul type thing. And it's not a challenge just for me, involving many, many, many people. My ex-girlfriend Brittany, my fiance, my former neighbor here, my father, which by extension was also my mother, and the 2 dogs, and my nephew, who is in the next room, and he's kind of confused by the whole thing, and he's 4 years old. It's such a cool, encompassing thing, and I am so glad you guys came along for the ride. For the 31st, I'll be doing a wrap-up video for this whole thing. So if you have any questions that you really want me to hit on, let me know in the comment section below. I really want to hear your input, because this has just been such a cool experience for me. Not just the philosophy, because when Mike was living upstairs, this is what we did all the time.
Yeah, just minus the camera.
Yeah, hours and hours and hours spent just talking about stuff. But this whole experience has been awesome. So really, thanks for coming along, guys. I really appreciate it. It's cool. It really is cool. And if you haven't yet, please consider hitting the subscribe button. From here on out, I'm releasing new content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Manliness Mondays, Philosophy Wednesday, and Project Fridays. And there's a good chance I'm going to be changing those around for the fanatics of it, like Ray suggested. So hit that subscribe button and join me. Also, if you haven't yet and you're able to, please hit up my Patreon. I hate begging for money, but I almost feel like I have to at this point because YouTube is kicking me out of the AdSense program. If you guys have $1 a month, that would be awesome. If you don't, really, no pressure, but if you can, thank you. Thanks for watching, guys.
Pay attention, be mindful, subscribe!
You heard the man, guys. See you later.